welcome back for the second session with Sam Bercholz. If you'd like to please raise your hands in prayer mudra, and welcome back, Sam.
Hello again, everyone. We're going to do part 2 here of adventures in Lodro's lair. That wonderful space of Dharma created for your non-entertainment by the most wonderful being, Rinpoche. And part of being in this lair is to be loved and insulted and loved again until you see the insults are a joke. And then once you see that the insults are a joke, then you can either feel liberated or abused. It's up to you. Okay, so we're going to talk some more about the seven branch offering prayer, and we're going to go into the confession one first. But I wanted to talk before that a little bit about phenomena that's Tillino Rinpoche brings up in White Sail, and also my own irritation. I get really irritated, especially at myself. And what do I get irritated about? I get irritated about the bandy, is that a word? Bandy, there's a word that goes with bandy, but I don't know what it is. But the way that certain of the higher tantric teachings are used by people, bandied about. The wisdom Dakini gave me the right words, bandied about. Is especially like Dzogchen and Mahamudra and all these things, like they are some excuse to not practice, some excuse to be lazy, some excuse to be stupid, and some excuse to be arrogant, and so many excuses, but it's bandied about because if you read the highest tantric teachings, especially the Ati Yogayana, it says you don't need to do anything. There's nothing to be done. It's perfect. It's the great perfection, just as it is. And all I can say is, you wish. Yes, it's true. But it's true based on true understanding. And it's true based on blessing. And it's true based on an understanding of Dharma. Yes, it's very important for practitioners of Vajrayana, particularly, to have the Vajrayana view of Mahamudra or Mahasandhi, Dzogchen. But to think that just having the view is enough is a fool's errand. It's not like that. It's not like that. You may go to a master, and the master may bless you, and you may be shown the nature of your own mind, and you may even be shown how to rest in that nature. But if that becomes an object of something to show off to others, something to be that you're proud of, or something that is, living room talk, I think one has missed the whole point of those so-called higher teachings. Yes, you can find yourself in the joyful situation of not needing anything or anybody, being fully, quote unquote, self-sufficient. But one has missed it then. What has one missed? One has missed the vow that one took of being a bodhisattva. We may not need at all to do prostrations. We may not need at all to make offerings. We may not need at all any of the 7 branches for ourselves. But this is extracted from the Avatamsaka and the way of the Bodhisattva, Bodhisattva activity. We are not just doing prostrations, offerings, confession, etc., for the sake of our own peace of mind, of our own peace. It is for the benefit of beings. So I have been with great Dzogchen masters. I have been with great Mahamudra masters. It amazes me how little they use those words. And it amazes me how many prostrations they make, and how many offerings they make, and how many times they confess, how much they rejoice, how much they dedicate. So even if one feels comfortable in one's own mind and has had a taste of realization, it's not just about me. Really, it's not just about me. It's for benefit. And I think it's so important to remember that. You don't just toss away everything when things are going well. You don't just toss away everything when you think enough of this. Maybe enough of it for you, but not enough of it for other beings. There are so many things that are subtle that benefit in ways that are beyond our simplistic understanding. The Buddha way, as it's called, is profound, and it goes beyond just satisfying individuals. Satisfying individuals is like, yes, there are Pratyeka Buddhas. There are those who have, self-contained arhat-like phenomena. Wonderful. But there's more than just that. There's bodhisattva activity. And practice that we find, like the 7 branch prayer, the various things, Nundro, etc., those are subtly affecting other beings. And maybe we can't see that. That's why we, those of us that are here in Lodro's lair, Lodro, what's Lodro mean? Forget. Wisdom? No. What's Lodro? Mark, you're Matt. Translate Lodro for me, because I can't remember. Matt.
Sam, I'm
Someone who
rapidly,
knows.
I'm Googling.
Someone who knows.
Does anyone know what Lodro means?
I thought it was intelligence.
Oh, intelligence or intellect. Okay. So this is the layer of intellect. We have to use our intelligence. And bandying about our accomplishment is unintelligent. Being accomplished is intelligence, if you're understanding my drift. It's not important if you are given a name or a title and so on. That's not the important thing. Would you be coming to my class if it said Lama Sam? I would hope not. Would you be coming to my class if it said Rinchen Tridzin? You would think that I had that someone else was going to appear. Now, if it said Heather Marriott, I might go to that class, or Renata Kukarazovic. I have trouble with those Yugoslavian style languages or so on. I might go to those. But would you go to Lama Heather's? Lama Lisa's? Lama Mark's? It's not about becoming somebody in that way. Dharma is not about collecting. It's not about collecting blessings, not about collecting names, not about collecting anything. In fact, it's the opposite of a collection. It's giving away. We can be just who we are. We don't need credentials. We really don't need them at all. Of course, if I was wanted advice on pediatric surgery, I might go to Lama Renata, because Lama just means teacher. But that would be about pediatrics. And if I needed psychological help, I might go to Lama Heather, and so on. But for Dharma, it's not important. It's not about claims. It's not about anything like that, which brings us to the place of confession and how confession fits into the 7 branch offerings. Because confession has to do with purifying or transforming or being the antidote for anger. Anger about what? Anger about anything and everything. All the stuff that we keep bottled up inside us. The potential thing, if poked, will explode, and so on. What makes a good Dharma practitioner is someone who has worked with their anger. And the best way to work with the anger is through confession. Confession of what? Confession of our thoughts that are destructive. Destructive to whom? Destructive to ourselves and others. Thoughts of any of the other emotions, whatever they may be, whether they're passion, aggression, ignorance, whatever it is. But particularly, confession frees one from the ice of our idea about ourself and the solidification of the ideas about ourselves. Solidification is adharmic. Solidification is about becoming somebody. Confession is about just admitting what is. It's very simple. You'll find that if you look, that even great teachers, part of their daily practice is confession. If they're with a superior being, they will confess to that being. It's not like a Catholic confession. It's not about what you did behind the church or behind the yard or whatever, though I suppose it could be. I have no idea. It's about freeing your mind, freeing the Alaia of icicles, statues of yourself, solid ideas of self, and so on. Confession is unbelievably important, and it is the key to Vajrayana practice, actually. In the Nyingma particularly, Bodhisattva is unbelievably important. Why? Because the Dana Bodhisattva allows enlightenment, allows that anything that has gone before can be confessed and purified, in fact. Confession is the first step. And then from confession comes purification. And we have those skillful means in this prayer itself, in changing our mind, in changing our view, and not chasing after ridiculous things. Especially wanting to become somebody. Sometimes we have very theistic ideas of how wonderful it would be if, we were some sort of saint, or we were considered some sort of, great being of something, and all these sort of things. But that's all so ridiculous. It's just in the way. It's just in the way. And it's simple just to wash it away with confession, because we are so used to lying to ourselves. We lie to ourselves constantly. And then because our lying is so consistent, just by repetition, we fall into the hugest stumbling block. We believe the lie just because we have repeated it in our mind over and over. That lie is the lie of a separate self, the lie of an ego, and a long litany of little lies that we tell ourselves so that we can feel either important or special or We also tell the opposite kind of lies, like how wretched we are and all these sort of things. We have a whole variety of lies, both positive and negative, that we just repeat. And we repeat it, and we repeat it, and we repeat it. Oh, stupid me. Oh, how brilliant I am. Oh, those people are so ridiculous. I'm the only one that gets it, etc., etc., etc. They're so, it's a dramatic masterpiece theater of our mind, with all the various actors of our mind talking with each other, convincing each other of the lies. There's nobody there. There's nobody to convince. So whatever lies we tell ourselves, whatever lies we project out into the world, whatever detrimental things we have done or we think about doing and so on, it's all cleansable. The Alaia is full of every evil thing, lie, stupid thing, everything. But through confession and the other practices, the cleaning of the Alaia brings one to Buddha mind. And Buddha mind is not about being superior. Buddha mind is about being awake. Buddha mind is non-dual mind. Buddha mind is no karma. Buddha mind is no habit. No duality, no karma, no habit. It is all accessible. And confession can do a lot. In White Sail, it says, admitting our faults dispels our ignoble habit of deceit, and denial purifies the obscuration of anger, increasing our habit of honesty and purity, so that our mind becomes tranquil and we can receive wisdom blessings. Just as the white moonbeam opens the moon lotus, ultimately, we can go beyond conceptions of wrong and right, joining Buddha's great, stainless, clear space equanimity. So that's the confession section, number 3. Okay. So number 4 is rejoicing. And strangely, whenever I think of rejoicing and this particular aspect of the 7-branch prayer, I think of Untitled Chapter Rinpoche. And you may wonder, why do I think of him? And the reason I think of him is out of his kindness, as one of my teachers and my dearest Kalyana Mitra, my dearest spiritual friend, whenever anything good happened, whether it was another teacher, one of his students, even his enemies, and those who disdained him and so on, when anything good happened, he would say out loud how much he rejoiced in their good fortune, whether it was material good fortune or immaterial good fortune, didn't make any difference at all. And he would get really joyful and happy. I see that smile and the laughter and his glasses and that joy just come because he wasn't jealous about what was happening with other people. He wasn't in any way. And I learned from him, oh, maybe I should think like that too, you know? And so it works either way. When I rejoice, I think of him. When I think of him, I rejoice. The magic of Lodro's lair. God, I love it. It is magic because it defies logic. Intellect that defies logic. You have to love that. Okay, now we go back. Okay, so here we go. The fifth is requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma. Sometimes we think just being with a spiritual master and listening to what they have to say, going to the pub with them, or going to the shrine room with them, or sitting around with them is plenty, and we can just learn what we can learn, and we can try to be the friend of the teacher or the girlfriend or the boyfriend, whatever it might be, or we like the idea of being with someone who's is a teacher and so on. But in Dharma, it's not the place of the teacher to proselytize, actually. The Buddhas hold all the wisdom of this world and beyond. But for the wisdom to appear, there has to be a request. Why? Because it's not a one-way street. We are not just someone with a big mouth that needs Dharma shoved into it. It's a two-way street. Relationship with a teacher is always two-way. It's a mixing of minds. It's a mixing of intelligence. If we can ask teachers to teach, then they can teach. It's very simple. There's no need for a teacher to teach if no one wants to be taught. It's a kind of simplicity. So it's very important that in a relationship with a spiritual teacher, spiritual friend, whatever you want to call them, and if you're a Vajrayanist, especially your Lama, especially your root Lama or root teacher, it's very important to ask. You're not going to really learn the essential teachings without asking. They're just not going to, it's not going to come. Because even though the teachings are for everybody, to hear them spoken to you by request has special significance. So the requesting the teachers to turn the wheel of Dharma helps, or doesn't help, it is the antidote to ignorance. Because from the ignorance of not requesting, by requesting, there comes the wisdom of Dharma. And it's an essential aspect of Dharma. If you look at Sutrayana, the various sutras, oftentimes they're discussions. Thus have I heard. Once the Blessed One was here and there, and this Ananda asked this, and Manjushri asked that, and so on. And it's a dialogue. It's a dialogue. It's not a one-way thing where the Buddha was at this place and then he blah, 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 blah. There's a dialogue that goes on. And this is because the Buddha's disciples in the time of the Buddha, they asked the Buddha's questions and he answered. The Bodhisattvas asked questions, they answered. And there's several ways to ask questions. Even if sometimes you ask a question because you can sense that others might benefit from that question. Sometimes the question is for you. Sometimes the question is for others, etc. And one can overcome one's shyness or overcome whatever emotions one has just by simply asking a teacher to turn the wheel of Dharma. And you can ask for particular teachings as well. Don't just wait. So really, that's the ignorance aspect of the 7-branch prayer. Kinley Rinpoche on this one says, requesting Buddhas to turn the wheel of Dharma means asking them to teach us in order to turn us toward enlightenment, even at an ordinary level, without requesting those who know more than we do to teach and help us. We cannot learn anything new, do what we want, or go where we wish. Just as we would ask for help to reach our destination if we were lost, we must request Buddhas to turn the wheel of Dharma to eradicate our ignorance through their immeasurable wisdom and guide us to sublime, destinationless enlightenment. The request for Dharma teachings dispels our habit of unknowing and purifies our obscurations of ignorance, just as the radiant sun dispels all miserable darkness, bringing the clear light of wisdom knowledge that purifies all ignorance and causes sublime Dharma appearances. This creates the seed to become omniscient forever, like all-knowing Buddhas who effortlessly guide all beings to enlightenment through the profound expanse of their precious teachings. So it may sound like a very simple thing, making this request, but this simple thing is very profound in that it eradicates the cloud of not knowing to the clear sky of vast knowing. It's like that. It's intellect gone beyond, like that. Then we come to the sixth, which is we requesting the teachers to remain. And this may seem obvious, but I don't think it's that obvious. I join my hands, beseeching the enlightened ones who wish to pass into nirvana. Do not leave us wandering in blindness. Stay among us for unnumbered ages. And this branch of the prayer has to do with so many things. And it's really the main thing to dispel wrong view. There's something in our samsaric existence that if we meet the profound brilliance of complete wakefulness, we might feel like we're being burned, like the sun is so bright and that we're being burned, and we want respite from that. And respite from that is so wanting to get out of the way, let the clouds all come back, and then I can be my regular old neurotic self. Yay. But the requesting teachers to stay overcomes that view. It overcomes the view that there is some place to hide. You want the teacher to stay because the teacher and the wisdom, Buddha mind of the teacher is not separate from one's own wisdom mind. So whether if the teacher is alive, one always supplicates the teacher to remain. Look, teachers can get tired of blah, blah, blahing with us. They get tired of hanging out with us and so on. They can think that, oh, maybe he's tired of me, or she's tired of me, or whatever it is. They need a little encouragement too to stay alive. It's there, of course there's compassion and so on. But remember, again, the path of Dharma, the relationship with the teacher, all of that is not a one-way road. It is two-way. It is the teacher stays alive because you want the teacher to stay alive. The teacher teaches because you ask the teacher to teach. Someday, you may find yourself in the odd situation that you're the teacher. But the dynamic is exactly the same. There's no difference. Either side of the equation is equal. When there is a meeting of minds, when our inherent wisdom mind is awakened by the wisdom mind of our teacher, there is no difference. None at all. And that's why this aspect of the 7 branches avoids wrong view. And we have, as we pointed out, we have so many wrong views, 180 degrees off, so much of our perceptive reality. And then we come into the, let's see what Tilino Rinpoche has to say about that. Beseeching means begging the Buddhas to remain with us amid samsara suffering in order to help sentient beings, since we need them to show us how we can be released from suffering. Just as we do not want those we love to die, but to be with us, we must beseech all Buddhas to remain with us for the benefit of guiding all sentient beings to enlightenment. By beseeching all Buddhas to remain with us in samsara, we can meet many sublime teachings and beings who are the emanations of Buddha, cleanse residual negative karmic energy, and purify illnesses, obstacles to life, and obscurations of disbelief. We will also be born with good karmic conditions and a long and healthy life, just as the sunflower follows the sun in order to survive and produce an abundance of nourishing seeds by opening to and following Buddha's sun-faced teachings. We can always live long with our Dharma teachers because of the enlivening energy we create. The ultimate benefit of beseeching all Buddhas to remain with us in samsara is to join with Buddha's unborn, immortal, intangible wisdom exaltation body. And the seventh, which is the dedication from Shantideva, through these actions now performed and all the virtues I have gained, may all the pain of everything living, may all the pain of my mouth will not say this, let's try again. May all the pain of every living being be wholly scattered and destroyed. So this is the dedication and reminding us again, it's not about me. The me is only part of all sentient beings. And ultimately, Buddha and Buddha activity is the destroyer of sukha. I meant dukkha. Sukha is bliss. Dukkha is suffering. How did I get that confused? Shame on me. Shame, shame, shame. Dedication. This is a Rinpoche over Rinpoche. Dedication means the resolution to have the ultimate aim. When we shoot an arrow, we need to have a target. In the same way, we must dedicate all accumulated merit to benefit ourselves and others so that all sentient beings may reach the inexhaustible wisdom quality of enlightenment. Then I'm going to go down to whenever virtue is accumulated, there is a threefold aim. For example, if one gives to pitiful beings, there is the object of the pitiful beings to whom one gives, the object of the material that is given, and the one who gives. If one is offering, there is the object of offering, which is sublime beings, the object of whatever is offered, and the one who offers. If one is praying, there is the object of the triple gems, or one's wisdom deity, who are the same, the objects of the prayer with vast intention, and the one who prays. Whatever accumulation of virtue is made, whether it is according to the traditions of Hinayana, Mahayana, or Vajrayana, it is very important to dedicate it with unfolding this threefold aim into aimlessness in order to attain the stainless state of Dharmakaya. The dedication of virtue increases virtue, purifies our mind habit of vagueness and the obscurations of doubt, and results in the acquisition of many positive aspects of existence. And then Rinpoche uses the analogy of dedication. We may think, what good does it do for, little old me to dedicate for all sentient beings? What can I do about it? It's, the number of beings is numberless. I'm just, some little schmo, out here and, living my little life and so on. How could that have any benefit? There's another way to look at it, and that way is very simple. It's like if I make an offering of water and I go spill it outside on the sand because I live in a desert, within a few minutes, that water would evaporate, that dedication would evaporate. But the Dharma view here is when we make dedication, we make that into the ocean of Dharma. And if we make a dedication into an ocean, that little bit of water mixes indivisibly with all the water of that ocean and is not separate from all that. So dedication has more power than we can ever imagine because it mixes with the dedication of all practitioners, all Buddhas, all Bodhisattvas. It's absolutely one of the best things that we can do. Whatever benefit we receive for ourselves, we make it as an offering to other beings, not just other beings, all beings. So there we have a little breakdown of the 7 branches. And I didn't say what the dedication is the antidote for. And interestingly, it's the antidote to doubt. That we have the confidence that our activity, our Dharma activity, the Dharmic force in our being actually does some good. And it's doubt can be eradicated, and not only that, the lack of faith. All the years I've been at the Buddhist summer school, I always because I'm asked to teach what my teachers taught me. The most important thing I learned is faith. And I may be a fool, but I understand what blind faith is. That's not what they taught me. What they taught me is I became interested in Dharma. I studied Dharma. I read books about it. If I couldn't find the book, I published a book on that subject. Just a little joke, but not really. and so on. I studied it. I contemplated it. And then they told me, you have to have faith. And I said, what's that? And what was pointed out to me is that faith is putting what one has heard and what one has contemplated, putting it to the test, which is practice. The practice of meditation, the practice of prayer, practice of devotion, based on intelligence, not on any form of blindness. We are given a map. We're given many maps. Buddha Dharma is so vast that, how many books on Buddha Dharma can you find? I mean, in English, you can find nowadays, maybe thousands. In Sanskrit, Pali, Chinese, Japanese, who knows how many tens of thousands and so on, in all the various languages. There are so many profound Dharma books, but all of them bring you to one place. Having confidence, which comes from faith, and faith is putting the teachings into practice. It's not just an armchair affair. And but if you actually look at the Buddhist practices, like the ones we described, everything is rather straightforward and unbelievably doable. We just have to train our lazy minds to not be so lazy. We have to train our ignorant minds not to be so ignorant. We have to train our angry minds not to be so angry, and so on and so on. Practice. At some point, one may be fortunate enough that faith brings one to realization. And ultimately, faith will bring one to realization. But the price to be paid is you still practice for the benefit of your friends. Who are your friends? All sentient beings. All beings in this world and beyond. It's like that. So, 7-branch prayer, very simple. Prostration. Offering. Confession. Rejoicing. Requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma. Requesting teachers to remain in this world. And then the dedication of merit. We can be like that. We can be like that. For those of you that practice the Vajrayana, many of you will find in the various nundros, particularly of the Nyingma school, that the 7-branch prayer appears usually with the Guru Yoga. And there's a reason for that. Because it's the 7 branches are preparation to practice the Guru Yoga, which is the union of our ordinary mind being transformed and awakened by Buddha mind. The mind of our teacher, which is no separate than the mind of Buddha. And it becomes non-hierarchical in that way. There is no difference between our own wisdom mind and the wisdom mind of the Guru, the wisdom mind of Buddha, the wisdom mind of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Identical. It's like that. So there were a few questions from before, but of course I don't remember them. I think Matt had them, and then I'm open to any further questions we might have.
Thank you, Sam. I'll just read out a couple of questions.
You do it one time, because I'm at the age where it's hard to even remember after you say the question.
Sure. The first, Josie has a question. She asks, could you please speak a little to theism and how this can confuse our practice in light of the 7-limb prayer?
Theism. What is theism? Theism. It's when we think there is some superior being to us that we have to have some relationship with, because he, she, it created us, and he, she, it can destroy us, or he, she, it can save us from the mess we find ourselves in. And then there are subtle theisms, the theisms of our wishful thinkings of all kinds, and our habits of sometimes superiority or inferiority, and so on. So there is this belief of something higher than ourselves. And that's natural, because if this world is just about this stupid person, me, there's got to be something better than that. But theism creates the problem when you discover there is something bigger. Then you confuse yourself with that something. And theism is ultimately wanting to be like a god, or be one with God, or whatever. It's a power trip. And in the Buddha Dharma teachings, theism is related to the realms of the gods and the jealous gods. And but for us blokes and blokinis in the West, we for the most part don't worry much about Brahma and Shiva and so on. We have our own gang of Yeshua, Jesus, and Yahweh, Jehovah, and Allah, and Muhammad, and we have all these other things which, from Dharma's point of view, from Buddha Dharma's point of view, are a lie. Not that there aren't good people, and people who have even within their framework, whether it's Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, Confucian, whatever. There are many kind people, and probably even enlightened people. However, the level of confusion that theism brings is, from the Buddha Dharma point of view, not complete enlightenment. We can learn a lot from Jesus about being kind and compassionate. But, Jesus's book is, it's a battlefield book also, it's about, it's also used, in the name of a lot of things. I'm sure, it's just the way it is. But the problem with theism is the temporariness of it. It's said in the Buddhist Dharma, in the Buddha Dharma, that even if you achieve the realm of the gods, you become Brahma. Brahma eventually drops down into hell, back into the wheel of life, and so on. So if you look at the sutras, you look at the tantras and so on, Buddha is not only teaching to humans and to animals, he's also teaching to the gods. And some people may find that surprising, but theism isn't complete. And then Vajrayana goes even further, and it's kind of icky in a certain way, because there's, you see, the gods decapitated, and their heads are used as ornaments on the naked yoginis and yogis' dances in the charnel grounds. But that's symbolic and comes from, obviously, from the culture where a fully theistic culture, the culture of Vedic India, penetrated by the non-theistic wisdom of the Buddha. And then the history of Buddhism is always about meeting nihilism, meeting theism, eternalistic ideas, and so on. Some of the ideas of eternalism or theism sound very similar to tantric Buddhist ideas and even sutric Buddhist ideas, but they are very different in that there is no idea of a S-O-U-L, soul. But there is a soul, S-O-L-E, wisdom, mind. And there is a difference. There is, and there's a huge difference. So most of us were brought up with some sort of theistic background. Those of us who were converts to the Buddhist point of view, and especially those of us who've taken refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. We are just like all those men and women in India who took refuge with Buddha. They all had theistic notions, and they all came to Buddha and received his wisdom instructions, which not only cured them of their theistic views or eternalistic views, but also their nihilistic views. It wasn't just about gods. It's also not just about dirt either. It's like that. It's not like just a bunch of mushrooms appeared in the forest and there's, mushroom Kate and mushroom Llewellyn, mushroom Louise, mushroom Matt, Sam, and so on. And then the mushrooms just go away. There's something else being pointed to by Buddha Dharma. And one important thing about Buddha Dharma, and maybe it's misunderstood by many people, is it's not about saying, we shouldn't go around saying bad things about other people's faith. Faith in positive is better than no faith at all. That's nihilism. So it says Buddhism is the middle way of what? The middle way between extreme eternalistic points of view and extreme nihilistic points of view. But it doesn't say, it's just talks about finding the middle way and practicing the middle way. We have that opportunity. And as I've pointed out, and as great teachers point out so often, the middle way is not just some point that is exactly between the two extremes. But theism is an extreme. Nihilism is an extreme. No need to go to the extremes. But if we consider ourselves a spiritual person, no problem. There are many, I like to say bad things about Islam. I'm really a horrible person. There's certain aspects about it I really dislike. But I find it very hard to take myself 100% seriously, because I met one person in England who was a man by the name of the Raja of Mahamudra. Yeah, he was a king, okay? But a king that gave up his kingdom at the partition of India. And he was strangely, he was the representative of Islam to the court of St. James. And how I met him is beyond me, but I was introduced to him by, I was just a little bookseller from Berkeley, but I was introduced to him by this friend of mine from Berkeley named Ian Dallas, a Sufi guy. And I met this guy. I'm nobody, just, punk 22-year-old from Berkeley, California, with my, sandals and whatever I was wearing in those days. And here's a fucking Maharaja. And not only that, he's at the court of St. James. And not only that, he's one of the kindest, most brilliant people I ever met in my life. So my introduction to Islam was really horrible. I met the best. But as I got to know him, he had no idea about Buddhism. He had knew a little bit about the history. But secretly, here is the representative of Islam to the court of St. James, and his mind is the mind of an Advaita Vedantist, in fact. And we could agree with so many things because certain aspects of Advaita are so parallel with Buddhism. And of course, the Advaitists, the Advaita Vedantists will say Buddhism got the non-duality from us, and the Buddhists say, well, they got it from Nagarjuna, so on. But it doesn't make any difference. Theism is a problem, except for some people who go beyond theism, even if they have a theistic name. Also, it was pointed out to me by Trungpa Rinpoche that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas appear in the strangest ways, oftentimes without any connection to any Buddhist lineage or anything. They just appear. And he used the analogy, you might find yourself on a Kansas farm and the farmer is a Buddha, because unintentionally Buddhas manifest for the sake of sentient beings. And we can't judge people just because they're theists or non-theists or whatever label we put on them and so on. Actually, some Kansas farmer may be so much more compassionate and kind than we are. So it's not about judgment. But those of us fortunate to be able to practice Buddha Dharma, to be associated with it, we say And what else can we say? This is the best way. This is the most direct way. This is proven. And the Buddhas of the past, present, and future, we can be and are one with them. So it's almost theist, but it's not. See, it's like that. And we can fall into some theist ideas. Theist ideas oftentimes have to do with materialization, materializing. And the biggest talkers about not materialism that I know of are Vajrayana Buddhists, whether they're Japanese or Nepali or Hindu. They love their gold. They love all these intricacies and so on. And one becomes shocked by what Vajrayanas think about. I remember once, I'm going to be really horrible again. I remember once, last time I saw His Holiness Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, the great Nyingma master, who was the teacher to both my teachers, both my root gurus. He was in Bhutan, giving teachings to the royal family and various monks and lamas and so on. And one day I went to meet with His Holiness, with Rinpoche, and there was a huge line. I mean, like a 1 mile, maybe 2 mile, however many kilometers that is, and thing. And I was sort of outrageous, and I joined the line and so on. And I got up there, and Rinpoche recognized me and so on. We had known each other from America, and I'd never seen him so angry. And there was like a black air around him, and I couldn't quite figure it out. I hadn't experienced that before. But through his translator, I think it was Pema Wangyal Rinpoche, I asked Rinpoche, "Oh, it must be wonderful having all these Dharma practitioners here asking you questions about Dharma." And he looked over at me, kind of pissed off, and he said to Pema Wangyal Rinpoche, to answer me, saying, "Most of the people here ask me, what should I name my child? When is a good day to smuggle gold?" And a bunch of, unbelievably mundane and ridiculous things. Here they are with enlightenment itself, the living embodiment. And they're asking about what's a good day to smuggle gold. I don't know what the story has to do with, but it's not about gold smuggling. Okay, there's theism. Next. Oh, we're still good.
Thank you, Sam. Dugald Sinclair's has a question. What is the relationship with the Alaia to the Dharmakaya? And on the Alaia seems to be the repository of all our stuff from the beginningless beginning, but the Dharmakaya seems to be the creative source of the infinite propensities of phenomena.
This is really one of the most important things to understand in Dharma, especially if one is practicing the Vajrayana, which is the most, said by Vajrayanas to be the most direct path to enlightenment in this lifetime. So basically, the Alaia is, the ordinary Alaia is just a mess. It's everything and anything like that. But that's based on believing it. When a wisdom teacher shows you the nature of your own mind, the Alaia is revealed as just Dharmakaya, the unborn, like sky phenomena, just messed up a little bit. And one can identify that immediately. But if one can't identify that immediately through the blessings of being shown the nature of our own mind, then skillful means are given, like the 7-branch prayer, the Nundro, and so on, so that the Alaia can be purified of the dirt of misunderstanding and materializing, and so on. And Dharmakaya will brilliantly shine through, unceasingly. And as we said before, it is not a thing just for oneself. If we can see the nature of mind itself, it not only benefits us, but it benefits others, because the way we relate with other has totally changed. The way we relate with the Alaia has totally changed. So either there's a complete realization or a partial realization that with a squirt bottle and rag, you can clean it, you know. And not only that, it's fairly easy to clean. How do you clean it? Prostration. Squirt, squirt. You know? Oh, offering. Squirt, squirt. Confession. Squirt, squirt. And so on, right? It's like that. It's not impossible. It's so available. And it's in many ways miraculous. If you have the good fortune to either have realization through the blessings, or the blessings give you a good squirt bottle and rag, good on you. Is that what we say in your country? Okay. Mark, do we have any more?
We've got a question from Wendy Smith. Wendy, if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Hello, Sam. I just wanted to thank you for making available all the wonderful books. We love them so much, and every time we have something to read, we find it's a Shambhala or a Snow Lion publication. So thank you so much. And I was remembering about 9 years ago at the Buddhist summer school, you lectured on the 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche, and you introduced this book to us. And I was just wondering if you could draw any parallels between the 7-branch prayer and the 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche. Thank you so much.
Well, I accidentally sometimes apparently said 7-line prayer instead of 7-limb prayer or 7-branch prayer. So what is the connection? I'll tell you what the connection is. But I don't know if I'm right, and I don't care if I'm right. I was first introduced to the 7-line prayer when 7-limb prayer, when following my first root guru's instruction. I went looking for a Longchen Nyingtik teacher, and my friend Tukutunda Rinpoche had published a book called Meditations and I can't even remember the name of the book. It's not, I'm getting of that age. I can't even remember books I published and read several times, but I think it's Meditation and Miracles, something like that. And Masters of Meditation and Miracles. And fortunately, in the back of the book, there's a little chart of all the holders at that time of the Longchen Nyingtig teachings and people who held that and you could go to. And the one that I knew of was Dodrup Chen Rinpoche, who was a close friend of Trungpa Rinpoche's, but he was in Asia and so on, and he also didn't speak English, so everything had to be through a translator with him. So for reasons unknown, it wasn't my karma to do it that way, but I noticed I had accidentally met this person, Tinley Norba Rinpoche, who is known as the great master of the Dujum Tersar lineage, but he was right on there as a Longchen Nyingtig holder too, and by circumstance I had met him and so on, and I went to him to receive the Longchen Nyingtig teachings as I was instructed to by my teacher, and he after a while he had me sit with his main student, a woman named Pat, who actually lives just up the street here, and I had to sit there quietly with her for 3 or 4 hours while he considered my request. I made a offering, traditional offering, a little beautiful container with gold in it and so on, and to the best of my abilities, and for reasons unknown, I must have passed some kind of test. He talked to Pat, and then he said, "Okay," and I was very happy and so on. And then over time, he started. I had a list of questions that had to do with what my first teacher said to me. He hadn't had time to teach, so I had a request list. I went down the request list next, and then finally came to Longchen Nyingtig. So I got the text for the Longchen Nyingtig Nundro. Maybe this is TMI. I'm so sorry, but you're asking, and I'm telling you my personal, not somebody's idea. I got the text in English for the Longchen Nyingtig Nundro, and he gave me instructions, and he said, "You have to choose." And I said, "Choose what?" "Yes, you're going to do the Nundro. You choose where you do the prostrations." And I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "Yes, you can either do the prostrations with the refuge and count them together, or the more traditional way is you do it as part of the Guru Yoga as the first of the 7 branch prayers. And then after that, if in the Guru Yoga, right after the 7 branch prayer is the Guru Yoga, which includes, of course, the 7-line prayer. So my understanding, and it could be totally off the wall, but this was my own experience, is the 7 branch prayer introduced my mind to the ability to receive Guru Rinpoche, to receive the blessings of Guru Rinpoche, Padmasambhava, and to have no doubt or fear about it. So for me, it became very natural to go right from the 7 branches to the 7 lines. Now, they're not the same, but in the Nundros, many of the Nundros, it's also in the Dujam Tersar, in the full length one, in the shorter than one that a lot of us do. It's the 7-line prayer is reduced to 1 line, but it is what happens before supplicating Guru Rinpoche. And it really has to do with those 7 branches. Clear your being, help clear the Alaia, so you can receive the blessings of the profound Vajrayana, and in this case, the early tantric schools, and or the old school, and prepares it's preparation. You have sort of the teachings of the first Buddha and the teachings of the second Buddha, following one after the other. After there's no doubt, after there's confidence, from confidence, from turning your mind to Dharma, you are an open vehicle to receive the blessings of the Nyingma and the Ati lineages, like that. But that's so non-academic and so on. That's just my personal story, okay? But maybe it's of some help.
Yeah, that's so helpful. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. I think we have time for one more, or maybe I get to ask a question. I saw someone here that I want to ask a question. Who is that? Oh, look at all these beautiful people. All the size of postage stamps. Okay, which postage stamp do I? Oh, I like this. We got a cute couple postage stamp here from Quebec City. And she knows already that I'm going to ask her. She's so smart. Okay. So, Miss Emily, what is the first thing that comes to mind if you have a question?
Do you hear me? Yeah.
Oui.
Yes. When you say that you have to change your bad habits for good habits, and then good habits for no habits, how good habits can bring you to no habits?
That's a good question. That's now, we're still in Lodro's lair here, right? So, okay. So in Lodro's lair, it's like this. You have your bad habit, right? And then you start developing good habit. And the good habit starts feeling good. But just like the bad habit fool, you become addicted to your good habit. And so you become a religious fanatic, maybe, and that might happen. So then you have an addiction and a fanaticism. Well, that's considered good. Okay. Now, when you're fully addicted with good habits and you've forgotten what bad habits are, then strangely, it all just drops away. Magic. Like that, okay? Okay? Amazing, huh? Okay, everybody. Thank you all so much. It's so nice to see you all from from North Pole to the South Pole, and points in between. Again, I would like to thank the Lion of Lodro's Lair to allow me to serve the Lion's Roar. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Sam. And on behalf of E-Vam Institute and everyone here, I'd like to again thank you so much for teaching on the 7-branch prayer. The way you present Dharma, I rejoice, and I'm sure everybody else here does, sharing very openly and without holding back, and in such an accessible way. It's truly amazing. And thanks also for reintroducing us to the notion of or the reality of Lodro's Lair. And I hope to see you in person in the future. And I hope everyone can also join in seeing Sam in person or online in the future at future Buddhist summer schools. So thank you again, everyone.
I'm going to add something. This is for those of you who have been involved with the teachings having to do with Dujam Terasar, particularly the Vajrasattva, or have an interest in that. I spoke to my dear friend Lama Sonam Tsering Rinpoche at Pemo Saling, and it was the wish of Tinley Norba Rinpoche and Twala Rinpoche that at one point sort of the friends of Sam and the friends of Twala Rinpoche and the friends of Pemo Saling, or the friends of Dujam Terasar, that we come together to do a week of Vajrasattva practice. We're going to try to plan it. We don't know how COVID works. We can't do it online. It has to be done intact together. And for those who would like to do that, would require coming to California. I'm sorry, so far away. But the Abhisheka will be available probably from Lama Sonam, and we would have the opportunity to practice together at the profound Wisdom Palace, which is has the Guru Rinpoche shrine that was crafted by Tinley Norba Rinpoche and Lama Tarchen. And so put that in your mind. If COVID's ever retracts, we're going to try to do this before we all fade away. Okay.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you, each one of you. And the main thing I learned, Nike stole from my teacher, Trungpa Rinpoche. They really stole it from him. Some guy in marketing heard Rinpoche say it, just do it. Okay? And also, you can do it.